What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark and this is 360 Finance. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my top 3 stocks to buy before the next market dip, or crash, or correction, whatever you want to call it. As the market cap to GDP indicator hits its all-time high, a lot of people are calling for a correction in the near future, sometime probably around the election. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen, but I'm going to give you 3 stocks that I think you should own if that's going to happen in the near future. The market cap to GDP indicator is one of Warren Buffett's favorite indicators of all time, and he actually predicted the stock market crash of 2000-2001. There's actually a famous interview that I'll link in the description that you guys can read if you want to, where he cites numerous different factors and talks about that bubble in depth. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to basically give you one blue chip stock, I'm going to give you one small cap stock, and then I'm going to give you one dividend paying stock, just so you kind of have a variety of things to look at. Before we get started, I'd just like to let you guys know that about 90% of you guys who watch this content actually aren't subscribed to the channel. If you do enjoy this content, please consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. And it also encourages me to continue publicly releasing all the research I do on the stock market publicly. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright, so as previously mentioned, we're going to be going over one blue chip stock, one small cap stock, and then also a dividend paying stock. And the first one we're going through is the blue chip stock, Microsoft. So first off, we're starting with this magnificent company known as Microsoft, founded in 1975 by Bill Gates and Paul Allen. Simply put, Microsoft is one of the best companies in the world. It develops, manufactures, licenses, supports, and sells computer software, consumer electronics, personal computers, and related services. This is a stock that I owned before the stock market crash of 2020 and have just not yet bought back into it. I'm in the middle of saving for a down payment on a house, so I actually sold off before the crash happened and have slowly been dollar cost averaging back into the market. Microsoft has been a stock that has been linked to the purchase of TikTok recently. Now, although getting into social media would probably be a positive for the company, it's certainly not their core competency. What do I mean by this? So Microsoft sells software. They're most famous for their Windows operating system, as well as Office 365, aka Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, as well as a couple other things. Even though they're in the tech industry, acquiring TikTok would put them in direct competition with the likes of Facebook, Snapchat, Google, and so forth. They already have to contend with one of the big tech heavyweights in Apple. Why add another segment which you're now a beginner and further competing against America's great tech companies? Since Microsoft has been around for a long time, they're certainly in the mature phase of their business cycle, or at least starting to hit it, and that's where they start growing through acquisitions rather than through innovation. I'm not saying they aren't facilitating innovation, but making a big splash with a potential fad like TikTok might not be advantageous for shareholders. That's just my 2 cents. Overlooking the fact that they may purchase this popular Chinese social media company, Microsoft is one of the dominant players in the cloud industry, and in my personal opinion, cloud computing is still in its infancy and has only been around for 14 years. There's still tons of issues with it, including security issues, cost management and containment, a lack of resources and expertise, governance and control, as well as compliance. With Microsoft being at the forefront of technology for so many years now, its deep involvement in all the layers of cloud has really pushed itself to the top of their competitors. Additionally, their commitment to developing and assisting customers to deploy blockchain, machine learning, and artificial intelligence in innovative production environments, as well as market-leading revenue, have allowed Microsoft to remain at the head of the heap. The COVID-19 pandemic and the move to remote work and video conferencing are accelerating moves to the cloud. Enterprises are increasingly seeing the cloud as a digital transformation engine, as well as technology that improves business continuity. As work has forced to go remote due to stay-at-home work orders, tasks were largely done on cloud infrastructure. Collaboration tools such as Microsoft Teams and Google Meet became cogs in companies' broader cloud ecosystem. Another cloud company, Salesforce, ticker CRM, which just reported earnings, had a 30% increase the day they released their earnings. A positive sign for cloud companies heading to an uncertain future of COVID and work from home. Since Microsoft is such a large conglomerate, there are many other business streams to dig into. However, for the sake of entertainment and your attention span, I'm going to give you my basic investment thesis for this company and move on. Microsoft has the ability to compete in any tech market they want to, hence their push to acquire TikTok. As we saw when central banks saved individuals and businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic and continued to support all-time stock market high levels, Microsoft will only continue to get richer from here. They're not in a dying industry, but rather pushing the envelope when it comes to future innovation in tech. For that reason, they will always have enough cash reserves to grow strategically if required, while their core competencies continue to drive growth for the company. The next stock that we're going to be talking about is my small cap pick, and this is Well and Health Technologies. Well and Health Technologies Corporation is the owner and operator of a portfolio of primary healthcare clinics delivering healthcare-related services. It operates through segments such as clinical services, digital services, and other. It also engages in electronic medical records businesses that support the digitization of clinics. This company was founded in Vancouver, Canada in 2010 and went public in July 2019. Small cap companies are definitely riskier in nature because they're unproven. My investment thesis on Well Health Technologies is that walk-in clinics are an industry ripe for disruption. Now let me explain. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, if you were sick, were you able to go into a clinic and get checked out? No, absolutely not. Well Health Technologies solves that problem by allowing patients and doctors to visit and diagnose virtually. On top of that, one of their key mandates is to digitize all public medical records. The more patients they have, the quicker digitization occurs, which is why the company has tons of investors despite not making any money and continues to use it to acquire other healthcare clinics as well as cybersecurity companies. Key growth will come from value-added patients engagement technologies and other tools. Here's an excerpt from an analyst from Desjardins. Our view remains that small cap stocks should be able to outperform the broader market in a soft economic environment if they exhibit the following key factors: market leadership, inelastic demand, innovative and disruptive products, recurring revenue, consistent free cash flow, strong financial position, and efficient acquisition integration. We believe Well ticks all those boxes. Now looking ahead, Desjardins sees potential catalysts for Well in future adoption of healthcare technology in light of COVID-19, growing investor awareness of the company, and future acquisitions. I think valuation and price is even more important when looking at small cap stocks because they're more subject to volatility and investor manipulation. Just to be fully transparent, I do own shares in this company and paid just under $5 for them. The scary thing about investing into a company like this is the fact that they haven't made any money yet, and they want to keep making more acquisitions in order to facilitate growth. How long will venture capitalists continue to support this company in their conquest for digital healthcare dominance? I think this is just the beginning for Well Health Technologies, and this is the future of healthcare clinics. I personally plan to hold my shares for a long time in this company. Like Desjardins said, I believe as investors become more and more aware of this small cap player in the industry, they will continue to appreciate favorably over time. This also has the potential to be an acquisition target by a larger healthcare company. Last thing about this company, and we'll move on, I believe this company is still in its high growth stage based on the fact that they're making acquisitions like madmen, while venture capitalist investors continue to give them all that money in order to fund that growth. The risk is that they can never make it from underneath financially. However, with the amount of clinics and cybersecurity software they continue to acquire, I think they're setting themselves up to be a dominant player in this industry. Okay, so my last pick is the Dividend Stock, and I'm going with Ryokan Real Estate Investment Trust. Ticker REI.UN. Ryokan Real Estate Investment Trust is the second largest real estate investment trust in Canada. It has an enterprise value of approximately $14 billion and owns 289 primarily retail properties with a net leasable area of 44 million square feet. The company properties are located across Canada, so the first thing to know about this company is that it pays a 9.2% yearly dividend, which is enormous. Assuming the stock price stays the same, that would allow you to double your investment every 8 years. The one problem with that investment thesis, however, is that REITs dropped nearly 40% since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, as the commercial real estate apocalypse may have officially begun. As tenants begin to struggle paying rent, especially on commercial properties, the market absolutely punished any REITs with commercial exposure, such as strip malls and office buildings, which are a big part of Ryokan's portfolio. However, that risk has decreased now that cities in Canada are opening back up for business and retailers are able to start generating that much needed cash flow again. One way that investors can offset recessionary losses is to invest in high-paying dividend companies, such as Ryokan. This allows them to produce income despite unfavorable macroeconomic conditions. It's important to understand the underlying business though, as you never know if companies will just default to working from home forever. On the plus side, as for this stock, they recognize that putting all your eggs in one basket is about as risky as it gets. So management continues to diversify and increase their residential portfolio. However, most of their revenue does come from commercial locations. As government assistance programs have helped prop up the consumer as well as the stock market, it's likely too early to tell how much of an issue not being able to collect rent will be. There are definitely some risks associated with purchasing REITs at this point in time, especially with rent collection faltering earlier in this pandemic before governments had to step in. However, it may not be enough to keep investors away from this mouth-watering yield. Ultimately, this is an income distribution company. As retailers and individuals pay down their mortgage or monthly rent, a chunk of that is paid out to investors each quarter. I personally believe commercial real estate may be in trouble. However, the market has already priced that in by depreciating all REITs by about 40% earlier in 2020. Our world may have changed as we know it, but there's certainly some value to be had here in my opinion. Management sees the inherent risks with their business and is shifting their business model accordingly. In fact, the CEO gave out funds from operation forecasts as many other companies are shying away from guidance due to the uncertainty of the pandemic. Here's a quote directly from their CEO after releasing Q2 earnings. The reason we're giving this guidance at this time is not only to counter some of the fear and anxiety that is clearly out there, but also to reassure our investors of our continued commitment and ability to maintain our current level of distributions. Basically, they're saying, hey, we're not lowering our dividend yield. Investors, stick with us. We're going to get through this tough time. This type of confidence is what investors need to see in order to have faith in a company with such a high yield. There have been many examples over the years showing that chasing the yield isn't always the best investment strategy. Due to the nature of their cash flows, I do tend to have a bit more confidence in this business model as they aren't necessarily ripe for disruption and will continue to follow market trends as the world evolves. For that reason, this stock has made my top 3 list to buy before the next market crashed and or correction. So that's going to pretty much be the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with a friend if you learned something, and as usual, have an awesome day, guys. Peace out.
Young age, learn how to get paid. Big stage, long way from session A. Big wave, he gon' have to get saved.